Every parent believes they want what is best for their child, and most of them mean it, genuinely, deeply, completely. But meaning well and doing well are not always the same thing. Right now, across the world, millions of children are growing up with anxiety they cannot name, depression they cannot explain, and the quiet belief that they are not good enough, not smart enough, not obedient enough, not lovable enough. And in many of those cases, the source of that pain is not school bullies, not social media, not the outside world. It is the home. This is not a comfortable statement, but it is an important one. Today, we are going to look honestly, without judgment, but without flinching, at the ways certain parenting behaviors are linked to lasting damage to children's mental health. We are going to look at what the research says, what children experience, and most importantly, what we can do differently. Because the goal of this video is not blame. Parents are not villains. Most of them are doing exactly what was done to them. The cycle continues until someone decides to understand it. Let that someone be you. Before we examine what harms it, let's be clear about what children's mental health actually means. Mental health in children refers to their emotional, psychological, and social well-being. It encompasses how they think, feel, and behave. It determines how they handle stress, relate to others, and make decisions. It shapes their sense of self. According to the World Health Organization, approximately 1 in 7 children and adolescents between the ages of 10 and 19 lives with a diagnosable mental health condition. Depression, anxiety, and behavioral disorders are among the most common. And in most cases, these conditions begin or are significantly shaped during early childhood. Here is what makes this particularly urgent. The brain develops most rapidly in the first 5 years of life and continues developing through adolescence. The experiences a child has during this window, including how they are treated by their parents, literally shape the architecture of their brain. Neural pathways form in response to environment. Stress hormones calibrate based on early experience. Emotional regulation capacity is built or broken in the home. This means the impact of parenting on mental health is not abstract. It is neurological, it is measurable, and it is long-lasting. Decades of research and developmental psychology, beginning with the foundational work of Diana Baumrind in the 1960s and expanded since, have identified 4 primary parenting styles. Each has a distinct psychological impact on children. Authoritative parenting, high warmth, high structure. Clear boundaries exist, but they are explained and delivered with empathy. Children feel heard. Mistakes are corrected without shame. This style is consistently associated with the best mental health outcomes, lower rates of anxiety and depression, higher self-esteem, and stronger emotional regulation. Authoritarian parenting, high control, low warmth. Rules are absolute. Obedience is demanded. Questioning is punished. The phrase most associated with this style is, "because I said so." Children raised in highly authoritarian environments show significantly higher rates of anxiety, depression, lower self-worth, and notably, poor internal motivation. They learn to behave to avoid punishment, not because they have developed values of their own. Permissive parenting, high warmth, low structure. The parent is more friend than guide. While the child feels loved, the absence of boundaries creates a different kind of insecurity. Children may struggle with frustration tolerance, self-discipline, and understanding consequence. Neglectful or uninvolved parenting, low warmth, low structure. The child's emotional and sometimes physical needs go consistently unmet. This style is associated with the worst outcomes across nearly every measure of well-being, including significantly increased risk of depression, behavioral problems, attachment disorders, and substance use. Most parents do not fall neatly into one category, but understanding these patterns can help you identify which tendencies, perhaps inherited from your own upbringing, may be worth examining. Of all the harmful parenting behaviors research has identified, emotional invalidation may be the most common and the most under-recognized. Emotional invalidation occurs when a child's feelings are dismissed, minimized, or punished. It sounds like, "Stop crying, you're fine. You have nothing to be sad about. Other children have real problems. Don't be so sensitive. Why are you making such a big deal out of this?" These statements feel minor. Parents often say them in moments of stress or impatience with no malicious intent. But to a child whose emotional experience is real, immediate, and overwhelming, being told that what they feel is wrong or excessive teaches them something dangerous. My feelings are a problem. I am a problem. Over time, children who are consistently emotionally invalidated learn to suppress, deny, or disconnect from their own emotional experiences. They may become adults who cannot identify their own feelings, a condition psychologists call alexithymia. They may struggle with intimacy because vulnerability was never safe. They may develop anxiety because their nervous system learned early that distress was not met with comfort. It was met with criticism. Emotional validation doesn't mean agreeing with a child's every reaction. It means acknowledging that what they feel is real before attempting to correct or redirect. It means saying, "I can see you're upset. Let's talk about it," before anything else. That shift is small. Its impact is enormous. Children do not need to be the direct target of harmful behavior to be harmed by it. Exposure to sustained parental conflict, arguments, hostility, emotional tension between parents is one of the strongest predictors of anxiety, depression, and behavioral problems in children. Research consistently shows that it's not divorce itself that causes the most psychological harm to children. It's the conflict, particularly conflict that is unresolved, frequent, and occurs in the child's presence. Children are extraordinarily sensitive to emotional atmospheres. They perceive tension before it's spoken. They internalize blame. Many children of conflicted parents quietly believe the fighting is somehow their fault. And the chronic activation of the stress response system in a conflicted household has measurable effects on cortisol levels, sleep quality, and neurological development. Parental mental health matters profoundly as well. A parent living with untreated depression, anxiety, or post-traumatic stress does not simply carry that burden alone. The emotional unavailability, irritability, unpredictability, or withdrawal that can accompany these conditions directly shape a child's sense of safety and attachment. And then there's generational trauma, perhaps the most important concept in this entire conversation. Trauma that is unprocessed doesn't disappear. It changes behavior. It changes nervous system responses. It changes how a parent parents. A parent who was raised with emotional harshness, physical punishment, or neglect may replicate those patterns, not out of cruelty, but because those patterns are all they know. The brain defaults to its earliest programming under stress. Breaking generational trauma is possible, but it requires awareness first. You cannot change a pattern you've never examined. Let's talk about something that comes entirely from love and can still cause significant harm. Overprotective parenting, sometimes called helicopter parenting, involves excessive monitoring, intervening to prevent failure, removing obstacles before a child encounters them, and making decisions the child is developmentally capable of making themselves. The intention is protective. The outcome can be damaging. Children who are never allowed to fail, struggle, or experience manageable discomfort don't develop resilience, the psychological capacity to recover from setbacks. They grow up with a reduced tolerance for frustration, heightened anxiety in unfamiliar situations, and a fragile sense of self that depends on external control and approval. Research from Columbia University and other institutions has linked overprotective parenting to significantly elevated rates of anxiety and depression in adolescents and young adults, precisely because the child was never given the opportunity to develop confidence in their own capabilities. Achievement pressure is a related issue. In many families, especially those with high educational or professional aspirations, children are placed under intense pressure to perform. Grades, competitions, rankings, admissions. When a child's sense of parental love or approval feels conditional on their performance, the psychological consequences are serious. Chronic anxiety, perfectionism,
fear of failure, and a deep-seated belief that they are only valuable when they succeed. Children need to know, through consistent experience, not just occasional words, that they are loved for who they are, not for what they achieve. We have spent time looking at what harms. Now let's be equally clear about what heals and what protects. The research on healthy child development points to a core set of needs that, when consistently met, produce remarkable resilience and well-being. Safe attachment. Children need at least one consistent, reliable, emotionally available caregiver. This does not require perfection. It requires presence and repair when things go wrong. The capacity to say, "I was wrong, I'm sorry," to a child is one of the most powerful things a parent can do. Emotional validation. As we discussed, children need to have their feelings acknowledged before they can learn to manage them. Validation is not permissiveness, it is the foundation of emotional intelligence. Autonomy within structure.